We're live on the internet, and we have some faces that you may not know. I am just opening up a window here. It hasn't actually gone live on all streams, but people are slowly but surely going to be notified of this magic here, the magic of fishing combined with traffic safety.
Best of both worlds.
Who thought those two would be used in the same sentence?
It's a weird and wonderful combination. It's really magic if you think about it. Okay. I am just making my screens work so I can see what the folks, and Cupcake is the first person to jump in on TikTok. Probably wondering what in the heck we're talking about with fishing, and she promptly left because she's like, I don't want to talk about fishing. But let's talk about fishing. So I am joined by Bla1 and Steve, and we're talking about ice fishing today. This is not an Ask a Traffic Cop thing, but there is a traffic component. Just about safety. So first off, I'll let you guys introduce yourselves.
So I'm Bla1. I run Right Track Racing. We combat aggressive driving, street racing, stunt driving, all that good stuff. And a few months ago, I was introduced to Steve on the, I guess it would be on the left side of the screen here. And we hit it off and got talking about the ice fishing derby that was coming up in Elliot Lake, or potentially coming up if we were willing to do it. And the rest is history. And here we are 8 weeks later. 7-8 weeks later, and we're about to have our fishing derby on Saturday.
So,
March 15th.
A fishing derby. For those who don't know what a fishing derby is, what do you do at a fishing derby? I assume fishing.
Well, you fish and you wear a silly hat. I mean, it's
a derby hat.
Sense. It's a derby hat. You have to wear a derby hat. No, a fishing derby, and hey, I'm an Oakville boy and moved up to the north. And when I went to my first one, I didn't know what to expect either. But fishing derby up here, especially an ice fishing derby, is you get a bunch of people. You usually have an entry of some sort, and you all stare at a hole for multiple hours and wonder what you did with your life and where you went wrong. No, it's an awesome time. You get out a fishing derby, you get a lot of people in an area, and you try to pull a fish out of the ice for prizes. We have summer fishing derbies as well up in the north. They're all over the place, but the Elliot Lake Winter Fishing Derby has always done extremely well. It's a lot of fun, and you know what? I was able to be a contestant in it for multiple years before I started working for the city. Met some awesome people, and it's a great afternoon. You're out there, you're having fun.
It's fun in fishing, and there's obviously a goal besides catching fish. There's a prize if you win, like biggest fish. Is that the goal, or most fish? How does it work?
Just the longest fish, any species, and we split the number one winner. Whoever catches the longest fish, we split the ticket sales with them. So if there's the tickets are $100 each plus tax, and if you sell 300 tickets, then half of that goes to the winner. So it's essentially at a 300 ticket value would be $15,000.
So it's a 50-50. It's like a 50-50 draw, but it's a 50-50 competition where people are coming up, they're fishing. The longest fish wins the prize, or and that person then splits the pot with Right Track Racing, which is a fundraiser. That's the goal, is to raise money for Right Track Racing, which is your educational program. Tell us more about that, because many people don't know about Right Track Racing.
And it is. And before we get into that, it is a funding and a fundraiser essentially for Right Track Racing. But at the same time, the city has been putting this on for many years in Elliot Lake, and at the same time, it's promotes their town, and I've never been there in my life until January 12th, and I went in front of council on January 13th, and I'll be perfectly honest with you, it really grew on me. It's a nice spot, and we were actually just talking about we're going to book an Airbnb or maybe a hotel for a weekend in the summer and go up and check it out, drag the boat up there and go for fishing.
Right on. I'm making a change here. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. I have Elliot Lake Fishing on my face instead of where I want to put in the background. Okay. So, I don't think I've ever been to Elliot Lake, but now we've been talking about it so much since, you you mentioned it for the first time, and we started making videos, and we went out for chicken wings, and I was editing some videos on my phone, and you put out some great content, Blaze, like some really fun stuff related to the event.
I'm slowly learning, and some of it was some ideas you gave me, and some of it was ideas my grown kids gave me, and I like having fun with the videos. I enjoy doing them, so it was one of those things that was it wasn't a chore. It was just fun, right?
Well, you definitely you're doing it naturally. You're having a lot of fun with it, and I should have loaded up some of the videos. Training for the fishing derby was hilarious. So
I think he's got a second career. Moving on when he's ready to retire, I think there's a few Scorsese films that can use Blaze as their star.
And maybe that's the police officer coming out of me. There's trained and untrained, right? So I'd rather be trained.
Well, there you go. I think my favorite one that I've seen recently, anyway, was you doing squats while holding a what was it, a life preserver?
Yes. That's you gotta get your leg workouts in, right? It was leg day.
My buddy Buck Fanks jumped onto the live stream via Instagram and says, "I'd love to see a live stream of some ice fishing." There you go. Maybe that's what you need to do.
That's doable. All right.
Well, the one thing
do that on Saturday.
The one thing I will add to this is, for any rookie ice anglers, you don't need to wear a life preserver to go ice fishing. But if you do, we'll be able to pick out the.
You're gonna make fun of you. Is what he's trying to say.
Well, no, we'll pick out the rookies. If you're sitting on your bucket staring at the ice hole and you're wearing a life preserver, we might know it's your first day ice fishing.
But anybody could win this thing, even the guy with the life preserver. I mean, I've seen beginners luck many times at these things, right?
And that's what ice fishing is. Most people use very similar baits. There's some technique, but nothing crazy. You could have never ice fished in your life, drop a minnow down a hole, and jig for 2 minutes, and you can pull out a 2-foot pike, and you could walk away with whatever half the purse is. We've seen purses at this event go into the 20s and 30s thousands of dollars.
Really? Well, so that could do some real dent in the cost of living right now. Is up, and people are having a tough time with money. And you could spend a few hours on the ice and possibly come back with 20 grand. That's impressive. So it's $100 per person to register.
Yes, $100 per person plus the HST 113 tax in.
And you can get 2 holes per contestant. So ice fishing rules allow you to have 2 holes. So if you want 2 holes side by side for $226, you've got 2 chances to win.
Okay, so it's a lottery ticket based on the hole, and hopefully your hole looks best from the underside.
Yes, yeah. Hopefully you're.
And just to clear that up, everybody goes on at a certain time, right? So 1 to 100.
So let's talk about this. What are the rules? Yeah. What do you have to know about ice fishing to ice fish?
So we have our own rules, and we haven't really changed it too much from what the city allowed in the past, because they've been doing this for so long. They've kind of been guiding us through the process and making sure that we're not making any mistakes that were made early on when this thing started. So as of right now, 1 to 100 contestants, the first group per se that registered. Everything is registered, and you go into like a priority sequence, what have you, or whatever you want to call it. You go on the ice first. You get to choose your hole that you would like. From what I understand, what Steve said, that the outer perimeter is kind of what goes first. And but I think anybody can win this thing from anywhere. And then you have your 101 to 200 contestants go on the ice in the second group. So every half an hour, there's a group that goes on, but we don't actually start fishing until 12 p.m.
Till 12 noon. So how long do you get to fish for?
So you fish for 3 hours. So it's from 12 to 3. You've got 3 hours to compete. And again, speaking from someone that's done it multiple times and facilitated it a few times, those 3 hours go quick. The funny part is the horn goes off and a hush goes over the crowd. It's funny. It happens every single year. The horn goes and then you cannot hear a pin drop for about 10 minutes because people are just willing the fish to bite the hook.
The fish.
They're willing. And then after that, people start to move around. You see people chatting and there's the camaraderie of angling really comes out when you're ice fishing, especially if the weather's nice and it's warmer and you're going around. It's a good time. And of course, everyone tells a story about the one that got away. And you'll have 200 or 199. If there's 200 contestants, you have 199 other people to lie about your fishing exploits.
Yeah, what
I got
you
a few
need
of
is
those stories.
an underwater camera that's sort of getting some live stream action there to go with bucks.
So actually, that's something that we don't allow. That's a part of the rules. So
no,
no cameras in the
you
water.
As the organizer should just get some footage because I think it would be
yes, it would be fun. That would be.
So what other rules are there? There's no huts, right? So you gotta dress accordingly. But it's nice
No
weather.
huts.
So is that going to affect anything?
Well, it's outdoor, and that's part of the area. It's part of the contest. It's being out there, puts everyone on an equal footing. But yeah, two fish or 2 holes per contestant. The most important thing is you have to follow the Ontario ice fishing or Ontario fishing regulations. You are still angling. You do need a fishing license to go out and compete. So you do have to follow the Ontario rules. No depth finders, no fish finders, and again, really for bait, you need to follow Ontario fishing regulations. That's the biggest one. You can find them all online, and it's not anything more than to give everyone equal footing. It's open. There's no huts. Everyone can see who's around them. Trust me, after doing this for several years, if you do something wrong, the guy next to you will rat on you.
I bet.
To the organizers, we've seen it happen. No, you're only allowed X number of hooks per line. I've seen it. We've gotten people, from a police point of view, Blaze, if you want someone to rat or to
informants
to be an informant, this is the place to find your CIs.
Well, there's a lot of money at stake, right? And people want to win.
Serious
so
money.
I get that part. Yeah.
So if you've got your fishing license, if you've got equipment, because you can't come up and borrow a rod, I assume. But if you've got a fishing license, you probably have a rod of your own. So bring your rod and your license and take the drive to Elliot Lake. How far is Elliot Lake from Toronto? Because that's a majority of my audience. Well, actually, since that, we have people all around the world. What's the farthest anyone's ever come to an Elliot Lake Fishing Derby in the past?
I actually just had a fellow call me right before we jumped on this from Windsor. So you are probably talking 8-9 hours at least to get there from Windsor. We're Elliot Lake is about 5.5 hours north of Toronto. They're 1 hour and 45 minutes west of Sudbury, or 2 hours from Sault Ste. Marie. Is that correct, Steve?
Yeah, it's about 2 hours from Sault Ste. Marie. We've seen people drive from everywhere to come to the Derby in the past. A lot of people have family or people know people in the north and in Elliot Lake, and we've drawn people from all over. Like Blaze said, we have seen people from Windsor in the past, Aurelia, Toronto, Burlington, London. We had a whole pack from London last a couple of fishing derbies ago. So it does draw people up to the community. We've got some great places to stay in town. There's we have a Hampton Inn, we've got Dunlop Lake Lodge, we've got 60-ish Airbnbs in the community. So you can come up, you can make a weekend of it, have a good time, compete. And if you don't have a rod, we've got some great retailers here in town that you can pick up a rod and your bait, and literally did that my first derby. Derby was Saturday. The very first time I competed, like I said, an Oakville boy not knowing how to ice fish, walked into a local retailer here and literally said, I bought $100 ticket to ice fish tomorrow. What do I need? And they outfitted me, and for $30, I was out the door with everything I needed.
And can you get the license at the same shop? Is that a quick thing, or did you have to do it?
Yeah, you can get the license at the Elliot Lake Trading Post. You can get the license at Service Ontario. I recommend folks, because unless you really like to procrastinate, you can go right online to the province's website and get your fishing license right online with a credit card. It gets a little hairy, it gets a little busy. You've got 2, 3, 4, 500 anglers sometimes descending into the town. So you want to make sure that you're prepared and not waiting to get your license, because you can't compete without a valid Ontario fishing license.
And your license is good for the year. It's not like it's just good for the winter season. It's you buy it now, you get to fish all summer, and
I don't know if you guys know the answer to this, but I heard a rumor that if you have an accessible pass for like an accessible permit for your vehicle, that precludes you or doesn't require you to have a fishing license.
That is correct.
That's wild. That's weird and wonderful, and I didn't know that
So
until
explain that one to me. I don't know what that means.
So if you have a wheelchair permit for parking, you don't need a fishing license. Things that make you go,
Yeah, I've never heard of that before. I had no idea.
This is a live stream, and Boy Mom 8424 says, as a kid, we would do our homework in the fish hut after dinner while ice fishing. No kidding.
Fantastic.
It's a great hobby. I mean, and it's so different than fishing in the summer. In the summer, you're out on the boat and you're bobbing around. You can go. It's a tradition. New Year's Day here in Elliot Lake, you go out, and if the weather is good and we've had good ice, New Year's Day, people are all over the lakes here in town ice fishing. It's a tradition. And get a hut, go out. You can spend the day. There's huts that sit on the ice from the moment the ice is thick enough till the day they have to pull them out, and that's a weekend thing. They'll head out to the hut for a couple hours.
DW asks, when do the huts come off the lake?
It depends on weather. Last year, they didn't even go on the lake. So
really?
we had last winter, we had a really mild winter in Northern Ontario, and it really affected ice fishing. So they didn't even go on. You gauge by depth. So when you drill your hole, you look down and you really gauge by how much black ice you have underneath your hut.
There is rules for
submarine.
There are rules for certain places though, Sean. Like for instance, Southern Ontario. All the lakes down here, you have to have the huts off by March 15th because sometimes we're a little bit warmer down here. So they don't want any huts going through the ice. And usually by March 15th, I mean, over here, because of the slush on the ice that happened 2 weeks ago, they already had to pull them off, because what happens is you have 2 feet of snow, slush, and then it'll actually freeze into the ice, and then they're impossible to pull off. So a lot of the places around here have pulled them off already. Little different, 5 hours up north, different weather. Like they're still having minus 12 or 13 tonight, right?
So there's no concerns about the ice for the Derby, which is awesome. JF Seguin says handicapper seniors can have a conservation license with a limit cut in half. All right, and then he followed up and said blue cards. I'm not sure exactly what that is outside of my wheelhouse of fishing.
So there's two types of licenses. You can buy a regular license and you can buy a conservation. And the conservation one is a little bit cheaper, but you don't get to keep as many fish. Right?
Okay. Yeah. When I was saying that fishing isn't my thing, fishing's not my realm of knowledge, but I love fishing. I used to always we rented boats. We used to spend time with the family on the lake, and I'd love to do that again. I don't know if I can make it to this one, but I think that would be a great trip.
Well, we might have to have you up next year.
Next year too. Have you had this is not my way of calling myself a celebrity. I don't see myself as one. I'm just a guy who talks about traffic safety stuff. But have you ever had any celebrity fishermen or anglers?
Anglers. I was going to wait to see how many terms you used before I jumped in and said angler.
Anglers
to see where you were going there, but we've had some anglers in the past, some well-known folks that have come by. We've had some influencers over the years that have come by, and everyone that comes out is no more famous than the next. So, and I think anglers. if you're out there, you also don't want to know that there's a ringer sitting next to you while you're fishing. So everyone's in a parka and a jacket and a hood and a toque. So if you are a ringer, you tend to keep quiet. But we had at the last Derby 2 years ago. One thing we work with a female fishing influencer, Ashley Ray. She's fantastic, and the stereotypes of anglers are going out the window. 2 years ago, the Derby was won by a female angler. And one of my colleagues, her daughter was here, and she pulled, I think it was 12 or 14 fish out of the ice.
Wow.
Haley was rocking it, and it's great to see. And that's what Blaze was talking about: first timers, people who are novices, male, female, young, old. It really is luck of going in, but that's why this is such a great event. Is it's not. It doesn't pigeonhole anybody.
That's
We've
awesome.
seen, for age, we are cautious with age because we want to make sure that kids are safe and
legal to
as far
win
as
20
competing.
grand.
Yeah,
Are there any rules for that? Do you have to be a certain age?
Anybody under 16 needs to be accompanied by an adult, and they just need to accept the winnings on their part.
on their behalf.
And they probably need an adult to drive the car to get to you. So that's if
Right.
they're coming from Toronto, 5 hours.
I mean, I don't think most people are going to just send their kids out there at 8 years old and say, "Here,
Just
I'll
walk.
pick you up.
Yeah,
I'll pick you up at 3 o'clock."
Go in, daddy, 20 grand.
Yeah, it's a good plan. There's a reason to have more kids. When I first asked about any famous people, I'm thinking you need to make sure Keanu Reeves isn't there and going to John Wick the fish.
You never know; it could happen. But do you think, though, like for instance, if you were there, you're a bit of a humongo in this world now. Would you think the fish swim by and say, "Hey, is that Sean Shapiro?"
That's not Ask a Traffic Cop guy. I think that's possible.
I've seen him on TikTok.
It
could happen.
Fish have cable. Listen, anything's possible.
Yeah.
Boymon wants to know what's the winning prize. Joined late, sorry. So it depends on how many people end up coming, but in the past it has been as high as 20,000. Is that right?
Well, it's been higher. So we, if I recall correctly, one of my early years of competing, it was over 30. It was well over 30,000. There was close to 700 holes or 700 contestants in it. So it varies from year to year. It's going to depend on weather, time of year, how many people draw out. But last year, if memory serves, or the last Derby, memory serves correct, it was just about $22,000 or $24,000. So we sold 440 holes.
Wow. That's serious. And for
number.
those who jumped in late, the whole idea here is that it's not only to foster have a great event, have people come out to Elliot Lake to see what's going on and enjoy the beautiful scenery, but also to raise money for Right Track Racing, which is the host of the Elliot Lake Fishing Derby. And that we got to tell people more about Right Track Racing. And I know, Steve, you got to go in a second. So
I do. I have to actually take my leave now. I've got to a prior commitment. But John, it was awesome meeting you, and Blaze, always great seeing you, and hope to see everyone up in Elliot Lake and reel in the big one.
I want to watch the live stream now. Even if I don't make it, I want to watch the live stream. So now you're under the gun.
It'll be a good time.
Absolutely. Steve, take care. Thanks for joining.
Thank you, Steve. I appreciate you.
And while Steve takes off, I will. There we moved left and right. There we go. So tell people more about, because we got a few more minutes. We can tell people more about Right Track Racing, because you do some amazing work educating people. You have a history, because obviously we're friends. We've known each other for a long time, and we've talked about what you've done in terms of racing and what you've produced now as a actually, let me pull up the website, because the website has a picture of the monster car that you built.
Yeah, I think Jeff just put a new picture of the car on there just recently, actually. Freshened up the look.
Let's see here, .ca. Here we go. I'm going to share the screen. That's a good looking car.
Yeah, so that car started its life as a regular Mustang with a little V6 in it, and we took it all apart, my boys and I, and started working on it a few years ago, and it was all built by me. Many years ago, I shouldn't say it was all built by me. So I had plenty of people help me over the years with it. My friend Jay helped me do the final putting together of the car and wiring it and what have you. He's, if it wasn't for him, I would have had a really hard time with it. He's just a genius at some of this stuff. And, but yeah, all the roll cage, mounting engines and major structural work and suspensions, front, rear, set up for drag racing. It was all done by these guys right here, and I enjoy it, and that's what I used to do before I was a policeman. Is I built race cars,
Nice.
and I was also a mechanic. So I many moons ago I worked at a place called Phoenix Performance, and then I moved on to working for Guild Electric as a mechanic, and the rest is history. And I became a police officer in 2005, which is something that I always wanted to do. I loved cars. I wanted to race. I wanted to work on cars, and I wanted to be a police officer. The only other thing that I never got to do was going to the military for a little bit. And this was kind of like a dream for me for many years, to start something like this, but I didn't know where to start. I didn't know what to do, and I got a new unit commander many years ago when I was working in the community response unit, and Dave Rizek was nice enough to take me under his wing and showed me how to go about becoming that community officer that I had within me that I didn't know how to get out.
Yeah.
And you know what? I really enjoyed it, and we came out. This whole thing started with me joking in the office and looking at Jeff and saying, "Hey, I'm going to take some kids to the racetrack." And like our motto says on the website is, if you're tempted to street race, take it to the track. And we believe in education before the enforcement comes in. Not that I disagree with enforcement. Enforcement is very important because some people just don't get it. But our idea is when you're 16, 17, 20 years old and you still can make choices, I give you the choices. Our classes, when you come in, number one thing I do is usually when we start in the morning, the last G1 program that I did at the 43 division, I went through each kid or each student in the class and asked them, said, okay, well, if I'm in a 60-kilometer zone, how many kilometers do I have to drive to be over the speed limit where I'm getting charged with stunt driving? And I drove that into them, and because the laws are there for a reason, because we have had some bad stuff happen in the past, and you're not going to get a break when you're driving 100 kilometers an hour in a school zone,
Yeah.
right? And you're talking, you talk about this all the time, big fines, right? 14-day impound for the car, 30-day license suspension, and good luck paying insurance when your insurance company finds out about what you've been convicted for.
Kidding. We got a couple questions for you. So first one is JF Seguin, who wants to know, most derbies I've seen still have small gifts drawn, almost something for all who join on top of the prize. Is that happening at this event?
So most people know the city kind of got a warning for doing a draw last year. So we are not allowed to do a draw anymore. That's a thing of the past. But we are having 1 to 10 prizes. Okay, so obviously everybody knows the number one prize is the 50-50 split of ticket sales, right? So however many tickets we sell, we split that right down the middle, and $50 from each ticket sold goes to the contestants. Now,
awesome.
Number two, we're still kind of putting everything together, but the Elliot Lake Trading Post is supposed to be putting something together for us for the number 2 prize. That's the only thing that I'm kind of waiting on. Chris is a very busy guy, and he was away for a little bit, and we just got talking yesterday afternoon about this. So he's working on that, but it's going to be in around like a $1,500 value for a second prize.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's your second longest fish.
Second longest fish, any species you can get. You could win this thing with a 10-inch perch or an 8-inch perch, right? So, but yeah. So number 3 prize, sponsored by Rapella Canada. We got a Lucky Strike ice auger worth about $800.
Wow.
And then we trickle down from there. So we got number 4 prize is a DeWalt drill and a cutoff wheel, probably like in around the $400 or $500 mark.
So big ticket items. This is serious business.
Yeah, and if you look at our right in the center behind me there, right under the Kawatsu sponsor, Jack's Ski and Bike Shop, he donated a $1,300 bike. So I don't have the list in front of me, but the $1,300 bicycles going.
That's serious.
We got a small welder from Canadian Tire. that they sponsored. Then and then we trickle down to smaller stuff there. But we basically go down, right around the fourth, fifth contestant. We're down around the $250 mark. But you got a very good chance of getting your money back, 1 in 10 chance, and it all the way down to the number 10 prize. But then on top of that, there's also smaller stuff coming in as well. Rapella gave me a bunch of hats. So there's going to be little small items that go with everything else.
Stuff and things.
Stuff and things. That's right.
Yeah. Lucas says, that's amazing. He says, I'll watch the live stream if I can't make it. Now this really is putting you under pressure to live stream. I can give you a login for here. You can log in and stream on my using my software. And Lucas also wants to know if that's a 2006 Mustang, your wheels.
Very close. 2007. They look identical. So 2005 to 2008.
Well, Lucas knows his stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously.
He knows what he's talking about.
Yeah. We've got, he wants to know if it's turbo or supercharged, if you don't mind me asking. That's quoting Lucas.
So my, the race car that I drive is all engine. There's no power adders on it as of right now. It makes about 850 horsepower to the wheels. There's nothing. The idea behind it right now is we are still trying to get everything going here, and budget dictates that we shouldn't break it. So we are going to use the car the way it is. But really, the car, so to give you an idea, the car went to about 8 events last year, okay? But it only went to the racetrack twice, right?
Oh.
So, yeah, so, the car, as much as it's a race car, and that's where we get a lot of attention, okay? This thing goes to community events. I have kids inside of this thing all the time. And, awesome. Actually, I got to put a logo on the front for the Transformers, because so when I bought the car, it had a Decepticon logo on the center of the dash, and I've always kept it there. It's kind of become like the mascot of the car.
Right.
And I had a young lad jump in there last summer, and he looked at me and he says, "Is this a Transformer?" And I'm like, "Yes, it is." Well, and he just loved it.
I've got a vinyl cutter. If you need to cut one, we can do it. If we need to 3D print one and then have it chromed, we can do that too.
All right, that sounds great.
We'll figure it out.
Sounds great.
But anything else? I mean, obviously, we want to send people to go to the event, to go and register to the Elliot Lake.
So one thing I ask from people, is, and I've been extremely big on this, is you look at the sponsors behind me. These are the people that kind of made this happen. Okay, Canadian Tire has gone above and beyond to help us. The Elliot Lake Canadian Tire, they've been just amazing with helping us out. Jumped in right off the hop. Same with Koatsu. They jumped in. They were the first sponsor to call me. Literally the day after I went and spoke to them. You have Glassy Bay. They do flying trips. You have Jack's bike and ski shop. The Elliot Lake Trading Post. That's your number one place you want to stop on Saturday to go get your minnows or whatever it is that you're going to be fishing with, right? And then Dunlop Lake, the city of Elliot Lake has helped us with sponsorship as well. So these things they just don't happen without these sponsors, right? The Broker Link, the insurance company. I'm actually I'm not going to say the insurance company that we're with right now because they've been great, but we don't get a deal, right? And Broker Link made. I walked in and they didn't know me from anybody, right? And they have supported the event before. And I told them what I was looking for, what kind of insurance I was looking for, aside from any sponsorship, right? And in the end, they sponsored us with providing the insurance for the event, right? Which is a huge help for us. You have Elno's Business Development, another big place in town, right? That really looks after their people, right? And I'm not missing anybody on that board, am I?
I couldn't tell you, but somebody made a comment that it's Komatsu and the M is not silent. I don't know what's going on. I didn't catch you. I don't know. I thought you said Komatsu.
Maybe I said it wrong. I probably did. Komatsu.
But you know what?
I might have said Kohatsu, actually. Yeah, they're right.
What did you say?
I think I might have said Kohatsu, but Komatsu. Komatsu is
Here's the
correct.
deal. I've never heard of that company, so it doesn't. I wouldn't have corrected you. But
Well, if you Google them, they're a lot bigger than you would think. They're massive, really big. I think they make big heavy equipment for mining and everything.
oh no, kidding.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. They've
And
been
Lucas,
around a
by the
long
way,
time.
who loves that it's what is it? I love that it's not everything now. Nowadays are turbocharged with a 52 millimeter or I don't know what he wrote here, 52 meter turbo. So anyway, he loves your car and he loves that it's natural.
Yep, and he's right. A lot of cars they make their power with the turbos, right? We just chose not to do that as of right now, and we'll see how it goes.
Crystal Rue says hello, by the way.
How you doing?
I'm
Shout
throwing
out.
that in there because I don't want to miss anybody out. And then Manraj Verk has questions about seatbelts, which we're kind of not talking about that right now. But you know what? Since we're on the topic of, no, we're not really on the topic, but I mentioned them. Seatbelt for companies' delivery vehicles. Is it okay if it's rented? So there's an exemption for delivery drivers. If you're under 40 kilometers an hour, actively engaged in delivery, then you don't have to wear a seatbelt. But you wear a seatbelt when you're in your drag racer.
I do. I wear a 5-point harness in the car with a Hans device and a helmet and
kind of
a
important
bunch
stuff.
of other. Yeah, we get to high speeds very quickly, so you wear all the safety equipment. It makes sense. I actually had one of my students put it on at the last.
I saw the photos. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, you know that she was pretty happy, and it was one of my it was one of my quieter students that kind of was very smart, but didn't say much over the course of the classes, and she had a really good time with it. And you can only let one student try it on, right? Because it takes time to put it on, and then I wanted to show everybody what it's all about. And the main thing we talk about with the racing is that when you see these race cars crash and why a driver from a race car can walk away versus when you crash your personal car and you don't have any of that equipment on, things are a little different, right? And not that the cars are bad; they're amazing. I think they build cars way better than they used to, and they're safe. But when you're crashing at high speeds, that's why these race cars, you can walk away from them, is because of the safety equipment and the engineering that has gone into them.
And speaking of that, Lucas has well, first of all, to acknowledge Dave, who says he's from EL, huge international equipment for a mining company. Great to see this being discussed. It's very cool. Lucas says, and do you guys know when the public on public roads can't have 3 or 5-point harnesses and bucket seats? So the question is, can you change your aftermarket or can you put an aftermarket seatbelt system into a street car? And the answer is you're not legally allowed to remove the OEM seatbelt system, which is it blows people away. So you could put a 3 or 5-point harness in your Toyota Camry, but you'd still have to wear your OEM seatbelt on top of it to be legal.
Right. But some of the seatbelt, some of them, pretty much all the cars now for the last 15 years, they have a charge system in them where they tighten the belts up when you crash, right?
That's new for the new 3 and 5-point harnesses?
No, I'm talking about your stock part seatbelt, right? So when we get into the race car, okay, we tighten ourselves down as tight as we can, right? And you can't move. Whereas your stock seatbelt in your car, it doesn't do that. You can kind of move around and it doesn't lock out unless you're in a crash or what have you. And then they have a charge system where it tightens the belt up if in case of an accident, right? So I don't know. And it also works alongside with the airbags. So I can see why the law is there, because even if they made the right stuff to hook it up, it would still have to be done by a professional and tested, right?
There's also the issue of the fact, like my friends who are professional race car drivers, like yourself, most of the time need someone to put them in and strap them down and make them one with the seat. Like I've seen people like stepping on the and yanking on the.
I have a very hard time putting the stuff on because what happens is I need to lean forward to pull my helmet on. So I pull my helmet on. Before I put my helmet on, I have to put that Hans device on, and then I strap in. So your vision is actually limited, and you can kind of only get your head down to about here, and you're trying to look down. So muscle memory, you can tighten it all, or you can button it all up. But to tighten it right down, I usually get someone to tighten the belts for me, to make sure it's good. And
it makes sense.
The last thing you want to do too is be struggling and like in policing, right? We go to an emergency call, we turn our lights and sirens on, and in Toronto there's so much traffic. Sometimes we're better off just to turn the lights off and the siren off and just kind of ease through the traffic and get to the call, because we're also riling ourselves up, right? So we try to bring ourselves back down, and it takes a very long time to learn all that, right? And it's the same in a race car. Recently I had a pod, or not a podcast, a kind of like a Zoom like this with Eric, and he live streamed in to speak to my students. And one of my students asked him, he was racing down in Las Vegas at the time, and asked him, said, "Are you nervous right now?" Because he was about to get in the race car and go down the track, right? And he said no. He said because I've been doing it for so long, I'm so used to it, right? And he's got a way to calm himself, right? And if you can't do that, you make mistakes, right?
Yes, mistakes hurt.
Right.
I've had Dave T's comment on the screen for a while, and I wanted to address it and thank him. He says, stop by North Shore Ford. He's happy to donate some swag to the event.
Dave, I will come and see you on Friday when I roll into town. I will be there around noon, and I'd be happy to come and see you. Thank you very much.
And I just realized now that when he said he's from EL, he meant Elliot Lake. So
that's right.
It's
I
awesome,
have to get
Dave.
used to that too.
Yeah, no, I wasn't picking it up. I'm like, I don't know what he's talking about, but I'm just going to say EL. But yeah, it makes a whole lot of sense. Well, Dave, I'm glad that you found the stream, because that's amazing that somebody from Elliot Lake is actually watching a stream about Elliot Lake. What we've been talking about for the last, 41 and a half minutes is the Elliot Lake Fishing Derby. I'll put the website on the screen. This is the site that you could go and visit to register. So you've got a fishing license, you got a fishing rod, or apparently if you don't need a fishing rod, you can buy one locally in town. Go to elliotLakeFishing.ca, and you can go. I can't believe I just said .ca. Go to that website, register, and come join, because you have the chance of winning a whole bunch of money and having a whole lot of fun.
We'll see one of these folks. North Shore, and I'm just turning around because I was looking at all the sponsors, and North Shore Advertising did all our posters and our registration forms and you name it, and I had them do the actual tickets they're printing up for this week, carbon copy for the when you go register your fish and what have you. They've helped us out quite a bit. And they've been a wealth of knowledge as well. So, a lot of these folks have been doing this for 15 years with the city, and we're new to town, and I can't think of a single person that didn't welcome us. Right? Everybody was happy to have us, and like I said before, Elliot Lake has grown on me, and I will be back, and so likely in the springtime, we're going to be going up and doing a presentation for the Espanola High School, and then we're going to try to get a hold of the high school in Elliot Lake and do a presentation for them on the dangers of aggressive driving and street racing. Right. So we'll talk about that, and hopefully we can get in with the Elliot Lake High School. Nice. I understand they have two. They have a French school, and they have another school as well. So we're going to try to do it on the same day, where we first thing in the morning we're in Elliot Lake, and then in the afternoon we'll
do some presentation stuff. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So Elliot Lake icefishing.ca to register, and I had Suno make a little song. Would you like to hear it?
Let's hear it.
Hey, Elliot Lake Derby was calling my name. The fellas were
great song,
playing their game with a cooler of beer and my lucky rod. I swore I'd catch something that'd make them applaud. I cast out my line, didn't wait but a bit. that was barely a spit. But a fish is a fish, or so they all say. So I puffed out my chest, started fibbing away. Oh, it was 10 feet long with eyes like moons, scales like armor, and a tail that could swoon. I swear on my mama and my old truck's brake, I caught the biggest fish in Elliot Lake. Joe said, that's nothing, let me tell you right quick. Mine pulled my boat across the water so slick. We all knew he lied, but we all had a tale, trying to outdo each other like a dog with a tail. Someone claimed they hooked a trot with some teeth, sharp as a gator from the Gulf down beneath. Another said he saw a mermaid on their line. The lies were as thick as the whiskey and pine. Oh, it was 10 feet long with eyes like moons, scales like armor, and a tail that could swoon. I swear on my mama and my old truck's brake, I caught the biggest fish in Elliot Lake.
I got to tell you, for typing
That's
in
a great song.
14 words into an AI generator to have something that's actually not horrible to listen to is profound. It's
No, it was pretty
amazing.
good. It was really good.
I'll send you the files.
And very fitting, because they used to have the
Mermaids?
ice fishing derby on Horn Lake, and now it's on Elliot Lake this year. So that was just the only. If anybody's wondering why we changed the location, it was a city suggestion. I guess years past, there's been people walking all over the highway with Horn Lake. So we're trying something new because there's a giant parking lot at Spine Beach. So that's why it was moved. That was the main reason.
I've been neglecting, because I've had some windows open. I've been neglecting some of the folks that have been watching on Instagram. Radix says, are cars allowed on ice in the Elliot Lake region during ice fishing season? Well, we had our Elliot Lake representative here probably when they asked, and we didn't ask them, so we don't know. Well, that's something that you could find out about, I imagine.
I don't know the answer to that. I have seen cars out there in the past, or trucks. I mean, snowmobiles are allowed in the lake, so if the ice conditions are there, I would assume that it'd be okay. But every place has different rules, so I'm not sure if there's bylaws against it. I know that when you're on the ice with your car or truck, you're on your own for insurance.
Oh, yeah.
If it goes through the ice. So
I've seen some amazing outtake videos online where cars are just sinking into the water and people are trying to save them, and it's not going so well.
No,
I've also seen some very interesting rigs that tow truck companies have welded together to pull them out of the ice, because they don't pull their truck in to save the car. They put a rig on the ice. And anyway, very interesting. Brandon says, hey, Sean and all, and continues saying, when out driving in my Mustang Dark Horse, I often have other drivers wanting to race, but I never do, of course, because he's a responsible person. Which is good. Lucas says, police should try encouraging people at underground car meets to head to the track. And that's entirely the goal of right track racing, is to get people to not race on the road, but to take it to the track and learn about racing properly.
Yeah. And, as much as we're all about, promoting all that, deep down, I'm a through and through car guy. I hate the culture being looked down upon because of bad apples.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you right now, the people that are in the intersections, lighting the intersection on fire and crashing their cars to each other, those are not car people. We take so much pride in our car that's not what we do. So that's just a few bad apples that decided to do the wrong thing that night, right? And the consequences are there, and I wish more of them would get caught. But sometimes with a group of 500 people, it's hard to get everybody. Right.
For sure.
But I think the laws are going to get worse and worse.
Or better and better, depending on which side of it you're on.
Well, exactly. I should say better and better. You're right, Sean, because I mean the city of Vaughan has now changed their bylaws. That the bylaws are charging. People are getting charged just for being bystanders, right?
100%. Businesses that participate, $10,000 fines. I mean, there's fines for everybody who wants to participate and encourage people to break the law. And you know what? I understand. I mean, I get it why car people are frustrated because, and the people who are not really car people who go there and pretend to be by breaking rules and making everyone upset. But I get it why businesses want nothing to do with it because they're damaging the property. They're making it, less good for everybody in the community. It's noisy, it's obnoxious, and they don't want it. So they're encouraging a change of behavior. And there's places you can go, like the track. That's where you go do this.
That's right. And there's some of them are a little bit further, but there's a lot of them around that you can get to, right? And
That's a funny thing. I often hear people saying, "Oh, if you want us to stop acting this way, you should build a track closer." Well, that's not happening. It's not. They're not leveling a school to build a track for you, and nobody wants a track in their backyard, which is why you have to go so far outside of the city. It's just the way it is, and if that kind of ultimatum isn't acceptable. It's
a tough business to start, right?
I bet.
You would spend an extreme amount of money and to with the noise bylaws and everything else that goes along with it, to get a brand new track up and running in the city, it would be almost impossible. It would be extremely
And where would you
hard.
put it?
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's just where do you put it? How do you deal with the noise, right? And I wish there were a few near Toronto, but Toronto Motorsports Park is your best bet if you're going to go drag racing. They also have like a road course at Toronto Motorsports Park. They actually had it open a few weeks ago, and you could go on in a fresh snowstorm and use the track. Yeah, so like how great is that to learn how to drive in the snow? And the nice thing about it is legally you're doing it, and the nice thing about it is there's nothing to hit. You're kind of just gonna skid off into the grass, and now obviously the snow has melted and froze so many times. I wouldn't want to do it now.
No,
but a few weeks ago it was fine, and I think they're open now for the road course because all the snow has melted on the track. So
Lucas says Cayuga Speedway is the best. He also loves the song. He says amazing song. And Waddell Engineering says we are going a new road track in Oro Station. I'm not familiar with the area, but that's awesome. Is they're installing something new?
Oro Station. I'll have to look that up. I wonder if it's a what kind of track it is. If it's a drag strip or an oval track, or yeah.
Waddell Engineering was at the auto show, and I got a chance to spend some time. Because we see each other online all the time, but rarely in person. But it was nice to see you.
I missed the auto show this year. I've been so busy trying to organize this event that kind of lost track of everything else. But
so it's a new road course. Waddell Engineering says it's a new road course.
Oh, road course. Okay, that'd be fun.
And that car guy says, "Hey, Sean, how are you? Good to see you." With that car guy.
And drifting is starting to be really popular with the younger crowd too, right? So. That drifting is not as competitive as where you have an oval track or a road course. Drifting, it's almost like going out there and showing off, which I kind of like. I think it would be a lot of fun, and a drift car is not out of the realm down the road.
You might get into drifting. Really, you're gonna get the big.
We'll see how it goes.
Okay.
Yeah, why not?
Good to know.
Yeah, I think it's a great way to get to the younger people. I really do.
I think it's awesome. Anything that helps promote safe racing in the appropriate place, I'm all for it. Maybe I need a race car.
Thank you, Sean. You've supported us for a long time, and I appreciate it.
It's my pleasure, brother. Brandon says Canadian Tire Motorsports Park is a great track as well.
It's absolutely beautiful, that track. And that one is actually near the city. Anybody who complains about that one, I mean, it's just north end of Bowmanville, right?
I think you and I need to make a trip out there. I've got my buddy who's an IMSA competitor. He has a race team that is often there, so we'll have to spend some time at the track, maybe do some live streaming.
So I have a lady that helps us, Anna. She's involved with a few different organizations that take exotic cars and they rent them to you, and you can take it out on the track and what have you.
Nice.
So we've been out with her a few times over the last couple of years.
I like it. I like it a lot. This is great. I can't wait to put this up and repurpose it and make all sorts of content from the hour we spent online. I wish you the best of luck with this event that I'm likely not coming to because I know I'm not coming to it. I wish I could, but
Thank you,
next year,
Sean.
I'm already going to schedule it into to come out there.
They're calling for a little bit of rain, so a lot of people have been asking, are we canceling? At this point, no. I think there's still so much ice out there. We should be absolutely fine, and we're gonna make the best of it. And hopefully, every day the weather seems to be looking better, and
Nice.
so we're staying optimistic. Let's hope we're not getting wet.
Brandon says he'll bring the Mustang for track day, and Chase wants to watch live streams at the track with us. I think there's a lot of potential here. We're gonna have to do some more.
That is definitely
collabs.
coming this summer. We gotta do something at the track.
I'm all over it. Let's make it happen. All right, listen. You have a good night, and thanks to all who
Sean.
joined in and participated
Appreciate
in the live stream. It's elliotlakefishing.ca if you're going to go out to Elliot Lake. And I got to say, Chase, you're all over the country all the time. What's 5.5 hours of drive for you? You can go be on the ice on the weekend and maybe win 30 grand. I mean, any projected numbers?
It might be worth big dollars. Pardon me?
Yeah. Where are you at now, or where do you expect you'll be for the event?
I don't know. It's hard to say. From what I'm being told, it's our first year doing it. From what I'm being told, the ticket sales are a little bit slower because of the weather, and we are putting out the prize list just this week. Right now, we're in and around the 150 mark, but from what I understand, the majority of the sales usually come within the last few days, and there's even people that come in at last minute.
So as a last shout out to do your spiel, what's your ask?
What do you mean?
Well, just so I can get a clip for repurposing later. It's come to the Elliot Lake ice fishing and register.
Yeah, be there. that was
all the videos. Okay, it's a separate thing. Go to Right Track Racing on social. Go on to Right Track Racing. Most of your videos are on Instagram. If you go there, I have got to say, I have been in stitches watching this man make funny videos promoting this ice fishing derby. It's been amazing.
We've been getting ready for the ice fishing derby for 2 weeks with the videos.
These ideas, we had a little brainstorming session, and he went off and ran with them, and I've had so much fun watching your social media content. So if you haven't already seen all of his videos, go and just scroll through, like, and share all of them.
I'm getting ready for the ice fishing derby, March 15th, Elliot Lake, Spine Beach. Be there.
Yeah. It's like, but the one, at one point what store were you in?
Canadian Tire. I also did a couple in Sale.
Okay.
Yeah. So
he sticks his head out of a tent and like, what are you doing? Ice fishing derby? Oh yeah, it was great. So
and you know what? The manager and the salespeople at Sale loved it.
Oh, you told them what you were doing?
Yeah. Well, they were kind of looking at me like, "What is this guy doing?" Right? And then I said to the guy, I said, "Hey," I said, "I'm just making a couple videos." I said, "Nothing, to make your brand look bad or anything like that." I said, "We're just having some fun with it, ice fishing derby and what have you." And I spoke to the manager really quickly, and he's like, "Yeah, fill your boots." He says, "People do it anyways, all the time, anyway. So it's not anything new, right?" But yeah, so we had a lot of fun with it. I enjoyed shooting it. I actually got to shoot a couple more videos this week with Reggie the Fish.
Reggie the Fish. I heard about this. I saw one.
He's kind of a big deal, right? He's coming back this week. And nice. One thing before we wrap up, the Masonic Hall, Masonic Heritage Hall, has been kind enough to let us use their hall on Friday for registration and nice. Saturday morning. So they're serving breakfast on Saturday morning. So if you're in town, and you need breakfast, or even if you're local and you want to eat breakfast, it supports their cause. It supports their organization. We're all going to be eating breakfast.
Is the Masonic Hall there?
Yes.
That's amazing. By the way, you have a new follower. Lucas just followed you on Instagram.
Thank you, Lucas.
Awesome. Listen, always a pleasure. If there's something new and you want to talk, let me know. We'll do another live stream and just hit the points that you need to hit. But I'm excited for you. I know how hard you've worked to get this ready. So I'm looking forward to hearing about it. And I'm serious. If you want a live stream, I'll give you the credentials. Get in here and live stream.
You know what? It's been a lot of work. It's been a great experience, and I've learned a lot. So I don't regret it. I will never regret doing things that are out of my my comfort zone. So
That's the way you learn, man. That's
it's,
the way you
it's
grow.
great.
I love it. All right. Well, you have a good one. Thanks everyone again for joining in, and
Thanks,
I will
Sean.
be editing this later so we can chop it up and make short form content to support you.
Beauty.
Take
Thank
care,
you again.
brother.
Have a good
Okay.
night, everyone.
See you later, everyone. All the best.